Hello, students. In fact, I was preparing my material for sharing with you online the intricacies and salient features of Marxism, though I would prefer to call it Marxisms, and why this difference between Marxism and Marxisms I will try to emphasize on while we will be concluding our discussions with you. But one thing, you know me intimately from the classroom, and you know me that I am not such a person who would in fact just relate to you like a machine the definition of Marxism or the genealogy of Marxism. In fact, I am rather taken aback at the syllabus when they included the genealogy and definition of Marxism, because that is not a very held thing to discuss any living theory. And I emphasize that Marxism is still breathing, is still living and kicking. It's not dead. It's defeated, but it's not dead. And every now and then, with the advent of capitalism and with the various ways that capitalism has so far managed to renew itself, to sustain itself, it appears to some people who are real ignorant and to some people who pretend to be ignorant that Marxism has outlasted its tenure as a philosophy, as a social theory, as a political direction, and as a whole, it is only encapsulated in an ism. And it's a very, 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 very old ploy to encapsulate something living inside the ismic zone, is very safe. It can't outreach you. But being a practitioner of Marxist politics and activism for the last 45 years or so, I would not purchase, rather I refuse to purchase their views. And I would rather prefer to start with a piece or with an excerpt from Slavoj Zizek's book, that is Like a Thief in Broad Daylight, like a thief in broad daylight. It's by Slavoj Zizek, a Slav philosopher and one of the most dangerous philosophers in the West nowadays. And he writes, I quote it, Alan Badiou's The True Life opens with the provocative claim that from Socrates onwards, the function of philosophy is to corrupt the youth, to alienate, or rather extraneate in the sense of Brecht's Verfremden. So to extraneate them from the predominant ideologico-political order, to sow radical doubts and enable them to think autonomously. The young undergo the educational process in order to be integrated into the hegemonic social order. Now mind it, I emphasize this particular line. The young undergo the educational process in order to be integrated into the hegemonic social order. অর্থাৎ তোমরা এই যে ছাত্ররা, আজকে যারা যুবক, তোমাদের এই এডুকেশনাল প্রসেসের মধ্যে ফেলা হয় এই কারণে যেন তোমরা এই আধিপত্যমূলক এই যে সামাজিক অর্ডারের মধ্যে তোমরা যেন নিজেদের ইন্টিগ্রেটেড ফিল করো, নিজেরা এর মধ্যে একটা অংশ হয়ে যাও, which is why their education plays a pivotal role in the reproduction of the ruling ideology. তোমরা এই শাসক যে মতাদর্শ, শাসনের মতাদর্শ, যে মতাদর্শ এখন শাসন করছে গোটা বিশ্বে, খুব গর্বভরে শাসন করছে, তার রিপ্রোডাকশানে তোমরা একটা অত্যন্ত পিভোটাল রোল প্লে করো। এবং আমারও মনে হয়েছিল when I first came across the syllabus, but why Marxism was in fact included in your syllabus? If it is finished, if its date, if it has outlasted its potency, then what was the reason that you, the young people, who are in fact touted to be the future of our country, the future intelligentsia, the future intellectuals, why would you be directed to study Marxism? And in fact, there lies the intention that to study Marxism as a part of your syllabus. So you will have to memorize some things, have to keep some tenets of Marxism in memory, and then prepare some answers for certain unknown questions, and then you will just in fact answer those questions in the examination hall, and later on you may claim that, okay, we have also read Marxism we know, and it is finished. So my approach, as always has been to you, is to bid some questions from among yourselves. And you should start with the basic question, thinking from the basic thing. Why should you read Marxism? And if you can find an answer to it, only then you will be realizing why you were burdened with the study of Marxism before you even graduated from an undergraduate course. Now suppose I tell you a few things One, Marxism, what's it? Number one, a modern narrative that tends to be a theory that has survived the postmodern blow incredibly and is still a debatable element among the intellectuals. Mind the particular phrase, the intellectuals. Now, second, I tell you, it's a philosophy inspired by the principle of equality of all people. Now, third, an ideology that questions the exploitative social structure and stresses the need and outlines the strategies for its destruction. Should I be a bit slow for you to follow? Then I will be repeating the three tenets. It's a modern a theory or narrative, some prefer to call it meta-narrative, that has survived the postmodern blow incredibly and is still a topic of debate among the intellectuals. Mind again the phrase, the intellectuals. The second tenet, if I tell you that it is a philosophy inspired by the principle of equality of all people. And the third one is an ideology that questions the exploitative social structure and stresses the need and outlines the strategies for its destruction. Now here also the particular sentence has two parts. It's a compound sentence and two parts of the sentences are joined by and. So the first part of the sentence is an ideology. Though Marx hated the term ideology, he always said that ideology was the ruling class ideology. So an ideology that questions the exploitative social structure and exploitative social structure. So Marxism is a theory that questions the exploitative social structure. Who else doesn't do it? Who else does not do it? Can you find a single political and intellectual person in the world who has not, I repeat, who has not questioned the exploitative social structure? They have all done it. And the trick is that each and every one of them had their own approach, their own explanation, and their own theory of what the exploitative social structure means. And that is a very interesting and funny thing. And the second part of the sentence is, Marxism stresses the need and outlines the struggle for its destruction. Now, that is in fact blasphemous. Destruction. So the Marxists or Marxism is very subtly, very cunningly made responsible for the destruction of a particular social structure if the Marxists think it to be exploitative. Do you follow me? যদি মার্কসিস্টরা মনে করেন কোনো সোশ্যাল স্ট্রাকচার সেটা এক্সপ্লয়েটেটিভ, তাহলে মার্কসিস্ট থিওরিটাকে প্রশ্ন করবে। বেশ, প্রশ্ন করল। হিটলার প্রশ্ন করেছিলেন, মুসোলিনিও প্রশ্ন করেছিলেন, প্লেটোও প্রশ্ন করেছিলেন, অ্যারিস্টটল প্রশ্ন করেছিলেন, আধুনিক ভারতবর্ষে আম্বানিও প্রশ্ন করছে, আদানিও প্রশ্ন করছে। এই করোনাক্রান্ত মানুষদের কি করে কি খেতে দেবে, কি করে এদের কাজ দেবে, সেটা নিয়ে প্রশ্ন করছেন। এই সমাজ যেন এক্সপ্লয়েট করতে না পারে সেই জন্য হচ্ছে কি কর্মচারীদের বলছেন মাইনে কেটে নেব আমরা, টাকা দাও, আমাদের চাঁদা দাও, তোমাদের মাইনে থেকে এক একটা অংশ তোমাদের হচ্ছে গিয়ে ডোনেট করো আমাদের, আমরা এদের সবার কথা ভাববো, চাল দেবো, ডাল দেবো, বিনা পয়সায় সোনা দেবো, সোনার কাকড় দেবো, বাটি গড়িয়ে দেবো, থালা গড়িয়ে দেবো, আর সেই থালা তোমরা বাজিও, তাহলে করোনা চলে যাবে, করোনার এক্সপ্লয়টেশন যাবে, সমাজের এক্সপ্লয়টেশন যাবে। কে বলছে না যে সামাজিক স্ট্রাকচার এক্সপ্লয়টেটিভ? কে বলছে যে আমরা ভীষণ একটা অত্যন্ত সুন্দর একটা ইয়ের মধ্যে বাস করছি? আর তাহলে তো হচ্ছে গিয়ে আমাদের বর্তমান ভারতবর্ষে সবকে লিয়ে সবকা বিকাশ, এই কথাটাই তো মিথ্যে হয়ে যায়। It becomes a lie. So there is no bikash. And that's why the government is raising the slogan that we will usher in the bikash. Please be patient. Please question the 60 years of past governance and be patient, patiently bear with us. It exploited you, but now we will see that it doesn't exploit. So the exploitation, we will eradicate the exploitation and we will usher in a Ramarajya, and that's why crores, thousands of crores of rupees will be spent for building the Ram Janmabhoomi temple, and the Supreme Court found the Ramlala fighting its own case. The Avatar came down on earth to fight a case in Indian Supreme Court and won the right of the land. So there were numerous questions by numerous people, and predominantly they were anti-Marxists. They were anti-Marxists or no Marxists who questioned the exploitative social structure if they really questioned it. But none of them pointed out where the exploitation or where the exploitations were being affected. And now the second part of the sentence that says, outlines the strategies, stresses the need and outlines the strategies for its destruction. Destruction of what? The social structure. So ultimately, they are equating the Marxist theory with the anarchist theories. Destruction, destruction. Nowhere you will find construction. So destruction comes in place of constructions. This is one thing that you will have to keep in mind. I am trying to speak slowly so that you can listen to it over and over again before I will be coming to the different parts and I will analyzing them, and it will take quite a lot of these short lectures, video lectures that I will have, because it's a very long thing. It's a very complex and protracted thing. The fourth tenet, the Marxist theory contains a positive philosophy. Now, positivism is different. Positivism is different in philosophy. Later I will explain this term positivist or positivism. A positive philosophy that envisions the liberation of the proletariat and the emancipation of women from patriarchal straitjacket. Now, who doesn't speak of patriarchy? Who doesn't speak of patriarchy? The most patriarch of all he also blames patriarchy. The film star Amir Khan, when he made the film Dangal, he in fact tried to rise above this concept of patriarchy, how a non-patriarchal father, to satisfy his own ego, to accomplish his lost dreams, pushes her daughters to fight for the medal so that he gets satisfied. You will find in Pink how an aged lawyer comes in aid of 3 girls and manages to extract justice from them, for them, from the court. So, emancipation of women from patriarchal straitjacket in a land where Khap Panchayats are still ruling, it sounds very good, fantastic, but who in the world has praised patriarchy? Which intellectual from what country has praised patriarchy? None of them. Yet, all of them spoke of emancipation of women. But what sort of emancipation? How? A woman must think that she's a woman. Or a woman should think that she's not a woman, she's a man. Is she fighting for equal rights? Or she's fighting for her own rights as a female and as a human being? So first you term it as a positive philosophy. You take it in the realms of positivism that envisions the liberation of the proletariat, and whenever you enter this positivist philosophy, this liberation of the proletariat becomes a jargon and nothing else. Because they don't take the pains to explain to you what a proletariat is and how even you, the students of English honors, are in fact going to turn out into proletariats with nothing for yourself, nothing of yourself, but your own wits and merits to sell to the market. So the liberation of the proletariat and the emancipation of women. And the next tenet, it's not a petrified doctrine. Who said it? Lenin. Now who is Lenin? This is Marxism, not Leninism. So Lenin said it's a petrified doctrine, but an integrated world outlook. So what are we leading to? What do these tenets of Marxism, lead us to? To believe something that are laid there for you to believe. And if you believe them without questioning them, without dissecting them, without putting each and every word of them under deep scrutiny, then he will be another Marxist, so easily available even on the social media, the WhatsApp, the WeChat, the Facebook, everywhere. You'll be posting, okay, I have also read Marx, but after all, he will not be able to grasp what Marxism is. Now, let me conclude the day's lecture from me, what I call them, the talks of an old man. Okay, to you, my young guys, that we have just started to approach the complexity and the difficulty of Marxism. Marxism, not as some integrated world outlook. You must learn what to do with it. To eat it when you don't get your rations, or to just wash your dirty hands with it? What is an integrated world outlook? You have to question it. It's a petrified doctrine. Why not a petrified doctrine? Why not? What does petrification means? What is petrified? How can a doctrine be petrified? You have to ask these things. And I hope you will be addressing these points which I tell you, and I will in fact not take much time, but before that, before I conclude this day, I will quote Marx. 2 quotes of Marx I will tell you. Because a close reading of Marx can only give you a real thing, the real thing in Marxism. The first quote in 1848 in the Communist Manifesto: "A spectre is haunting Europe, a spectre of communism." If I translate it in Bengali, I can in fact translate it in Bengali: সারা পৃথিবী আজ একটি ভূতের হানায় সন্ত্রস্ত, কমিউনিজমের ভূত। And the second quote that I would like to make here to conclude today's lecture, that is, the philosophers of the world have hitherto interpreted it in many ways. But the point is how to change it. So, 2 quotes speak 2 different things. Europe is being haunted by a spectre of communism. And second, philosophers of the world have interpreted hitherto it in many ways. The point is to change it. So, Marxism preaches change. Change. It preaches a dynamic change, not one dynamic change, but changes. And that's why the people, the intellectuals of the world, in spite of doing their best to preach that it's a dead thing, it's a finished thing, and they pretend to be so contented that they are putting it into syllabus for you to go through it without learning anything of it, without understanding even a bit of it in your syllabus. But I will just try to give you the exposures to Marxism, and then the Marxist literary theory, literary criticism, and how to approach Marx, because that's what I can do at best. Otherwise, it would be best for me to take a typed note and then read it for you. In the meantime, I will send you clippings from the net by different people, different lecturers, academicians and activists, whose lectures also you should follow. And I think you can view it in a whole, because the net is very slow. I am just calling it a day. Thank you. Protect yourself from this pandemic. Stay home, stay safe, and act rationally. Feel for other people. Thank you. Good night.